Good day, students. Today we will going to learn another math lesson, and that is electric meter reading. So let's start. Electricity has become very useful and has changed everyone's life since the day it was discovered. Individuals have become accustomed to electricity. It gives us comfort and make our life easy. At home, we receive our monthly bill for the total amount of electricity used. A watt is a unit of power in electricity. Since watt is a very small unit, kilowatt is used. A kilowatt is equal to 1000 watts. A kilowatt hour is equal to a kilowatt consumed in 1 hour. An electric meter is a device used to measure the amount of electrical energy. It is installed in houses, buildings, commercial establishments, and the like to measure accurately the amount of electrical energy used. Below is an example of analog electric meter. The electric meter have 5 dials as shown below. From the right, the first dial is read as ones, the next is tens, the third is hundreds, the fourth is thousands, and the last is 10,000s. For the first dial, it rotates clockwise. For the second dial, it rotates counterclockwise. For the third dial, it rotates clockwise. For the fourth dial, it rotates counterclockwise. And for our last dial, it rotates clockwise. And for this one, the dial is, we have 2, 3, 8, 2, and 5. So for this one, we have 23,825 kilowatt hour. To find how much electricity is consumed each month, subtract the previous reading from the current reading. For example, the electric bill shows the present reading, which is 983 kilowatt hour, and the previous reading is 787 kilowatt hour. How much electricity is consumed during the billing period? So for this one, we will going to subtract the present reading by the previous reading, and that is the electricity consumed for the month. So we have here 983, which is the present reading. Subtract it with 787. So the electricity consumed for the month is 196 kilowatt hour. Most homes nowadays have electrical appliances like computers, air conditioning units, ovens, and others. This consumes a lot of electrical energy. To find out the electricity consumption of these appliances, multiply the watts consumed per hour with the number of hours the appliances must use. For example, a certain model of air conditioned unit has a wattage of 250 watts per hour. If it was used continuously for 6 hours, how many watts does it consume? So, for the solution, we know that the air conditioning unit consumes 250 watt per hour. And if it was used for 6 hours, so we will going to multiply it with 6. So 250 multiply it by 6. So the air conditioning unit consumes 1,500 watts in 6 hours. The electric bill provided by electric companies shown information like the previous and the present readings, the amount of electricity consumed, and all other charges whose total is called the total electricity bill or the total amount due. To find the total amount due for the month, multiply the electric consumption by the respective rates per kilowatt hour and all other charges. If the payment is made after the due date, add also the penalty or surcharge, which is 2% of the total amount due. For example, the electric consumption of Bonifacio family is 216 kilowatt hour. The electric company charges 6.8215 per kilowatt hour and all other charges for a total of 229.29 pesos. If the family is paying late their bill and has a penalty rate of 2% of the total amount, how much is their amount due for the month? So we have here the total electricity consumed by the Bonifacio family, which is 216, and the rate of the electric company per kilowatt hour is 6.8215. So we will going to multiply it, the kilowatt hour consumed and the rate of the company per kilowatt hour, which is 6.8215. So 216 times 6.8215, that is 1,473.44. This is the amount of the kilowatt hour or the electricity consumed by the Bonifacio family. But we still need to add the other charges. So 1,473.44 plus the other charges, which is the 229.29, we got a total of 1,702.73 pesos. But in our sentence here, the family is paying late for their bill. So we need to take the 2% of this one because they have a penalty. So what is the 2% of 1,702.73? So we were going to multiply it. 1,702.73 times 0.02, that is 34.05. Okay, so once we already find out the 2% of 1,702.73, we will going to add it with total amount. So 1,702.73 plus the penalty, which is the 2%, and that is the 34.05. They got now the total amount due, which is 1,736.78 pesos. So therefore, the total amount due of the Bonifacio family for the month is 1,736.78 pesos. So always remember that the first thing that we need to do is first we need to multiply the total electric consumption for that month. Multiply it with the charge of the electric company, which is 6.8215 per kilowatt hour. After we multiply the kilowatt hour consumed and the rate of the company, we will going to add the total charges. So as what we can see here, the 1,473.44, I add it with the total charges, which is the 229.29. That's why it became 1,072.73. After that one, if the family is paying late, they need to pay the 2% of the total amount. So 1,702.73 times the 2%, I'll just convert the 2% into decimal, and that is 0.02. So the 2% of 1,702.73, that is 34.05. And then to find the total amount due, I'm going to add the penalty and the 1,702.73. So that makes it 1,736.78, and that is their monthly payment for their electric consumption in that certain month. Okay, so let us try to have another example. This problem does not have any penalty. So since they do not have any penalty, so they will not going to be charged by 2%. So let us read this example. The present reading in the electric meter reading of Santos family is 31,277 kilowatt hour, while the previous reading that they have is 31,271 kilowatt per hour. The generation charge is 6.8215 per kilowatt hour, and other charges is a total of 229.29 pesos. How much the total amount to be paid by the family for their electric consumption for this month? So as what you can see, we need to subtract the present reading and the previous reading. So we have here the present reading, which is 31,267. Subtract it with the previous reading, which is the 31,271. So when you subtract them, we got the answer of 6 kilowatt hour. Okay, So after we find out the kilowatt hour, the consumption of the family for that month, we will going to multiply it with the charge of the electric company, which is 6.8215 per kilowatt hour. So 6 times 6.8215, the answer is 40.929. So after this one, we're not yet done. We need to add this one with the total charges. The total charges is 229.29. So we will going to add 40.929 plus the total charges, which is 229.29. Then we got 270.22. We don't have any penalty since the Santos family paid it before the penalty or the due date. So therefore, the total amount due of the Santos family is 270.22 pesos. So let us recap. To find the total amount due for the month, multiply the electric consumption by 6.8215 per kilowatt hour plus all of the other charges, which is 229.29. If the payment is made after the due date, add the penalty or the surcharge, which is the 2% of the total amount due. Okay, so that's all for today. I hope that you've learned something new from our lesson, and see you in our next asynchronous class. Thank you and have a nice day.